Hey, this is Mr. Swift. I'm here to teach you how to do task 3, which is building a block with dimensions. Today we're going to use a couple tools that will help you specifically draw items to um, actual dimensions, not just kind of free-form stuff. So we'll be actually building a cube that's an inch and a half, an inch and a half, an inch and a half with a triangle that's an inch and a half by 1 by 1. All right. So here in SketchUp, now today we don't need the gentleman here for a scale, so I'm actually going to click on him and delete him. And I'm going to start by drawing that inch and a half cube. So down here on the ground, I'm going to start with the rectangle. I'm going to click once. I want you to realize that I'm only clicking, and then now I'm dragging, and I'm just going to kind of drag this in the direction I want. I did not click and drag. I did not click and hold down the button. I did not double click. I just clicked once, and then I dragged out, kind of two separate actions. And by doing that, that lets me type in the dimensions. You'll notice down here in the lower right, it says 10 3/4 by 9 1/8. What I can actually do is I can actually just type in numbers. So I'm going to type in 1.5 inches, comma 1.5 inches. And what that will do is that'll take those dimensions of inch and a half by inch and a half and put that into this square. So I'm going to hit return once I've got that done, and you'll see my tiny little square has been made. So what I can do here is use our zoom extent tool that we learned about earlier, and that'll just kind of pull that whole square up that we needed, or that we made. All right, so we've used that dimension tool down here. We're going to do that again, but this time we're going to use it with the push-pull tool. I'm going to click on the push-pull tool. I'm going to click on the object I want to push-pull, and I've only clicked once again, and I'm just lightly dragging this up. And now what I can do is, again, type in 1.5 inches, and that gave me a cube of inch and a half by inch and a half by inch and a half. Again, zoom extents. Now, one of the other tools that you want to be using when you're creating these type of things is a dimension tool. So if you look on your drawing here, you've got to add some dimensions to this. So I'm going to click on this tool, and it's the dimension tool. And there's kind of two different ways you can use the dimension tool. One way is to click on the item you want to dimension. You'll see it highlights in blue, and you can click and drag that. I'll do that again right here. Highlight, click and drag out. Now another way you can use the dimension tool is by, instead of clicking on a bar, you can actually click on point. So I'm going to click on that point, click down here on that point, and then pull that out. So now we have our inch and a half by inch and a half by inch and a half cube, and you have now used the dimension tool and actually drawing things to specific dimensions. Now looking at our assignment, we have another triangle to add to this. So I'm going to draw, and this time I'm going to use another tool that's similar to the dimension tool, but it's called the ruler. And the ruler is a really neat, or the tape measure, sorry. The tape measure is a really neat tool because it lets you put little mark points on your drawing. So I'm going to click on the tape measure. I'm going to click from this corner. I'm going to draw it out in the direction I want to measure it. And I'm going to type a 1 inch with double quotes and hit return. And you're going to see that there's a little mark now on that line. So it's kind of like if you took a tape measure in real life and used a pencil to mark a specific distance. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to click, drag it up, and I need to type in 1 inch and hit return. And now I've got 2 marks. And that's going to allow me to grab my pencil tool and draw from here to here. And then now I need to use the push-pull tool to pull that triangle out. And again, I'm going to click on the surface. I'm clicking on it once. And then now I'm going to kind of drag it in the direction I want to pull it. And now I'm going to type in 1.5 inches, return. And you can see that I now have my triangle added to it, just like in the assignment. Now, I need to add those dimensions, so again I'm going to click over here, grab the dimension tool, I'm going to add dimension for that. I'm going to click on this endpoint to this endpoint, add that dimension, and click on this point and add that dimension. Alright, so using that zoom extents, you can see that I've got my triangle and cube drawn, and it looks just like the assignment. So from here I would hit save, and I would call this one task. I want to save it in my SketchUp folder, and I'm going to call it task 3, and hit save. And that's it for today's lesson on using the dimension feature, using the dimension tool, and using the tape measure tool for building blocks to specific dimensions. Now you'll be needing these skills again in task 4. You're going to make a house that's 40 feet by 25 feet by 15 feet high, and you'll be also drawing this block 5. So make sure that you've really paid attention to these tools, and if you have any questions, please let me know. I'd be happy to answer them for you and hopefully get you to become a better SketchUp user. All right, good luck, and have fun with task 3. Thanks for listening.